Look, these rallies that go on during the election period, I go to them regularly. In fact, I was on my way to them this afternoon. I actually saw former Prime Minister Abe, at one of these rallies just a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot of security. He had a few people around him. But no, they're very open. They're very public. They really are literally soapbox kind of calls and rallies to support candidates. It's been quite shocking in a way, because I've followed these through for many years now, and I actually go around and watch who's there and who's responding and all those sorts of things. Yes, it's taken a little while for us to process this at the moment.
Understandably. How significant are the upcoming elections, and what were Shinzo Abe's contributions to the campaigning?
Look, this kind of campaigning that a lot of the leaders have been doing, because this is an upper house election, to be honest, until today, it wasn't really all that significant. It's an upper house election. It's a sort of what we call in Australia a half Senate election, I guess. It's not going to change the government. People will be looking at some of the numbers to see whether or not the government can get the seats and the numbers to put forward its policies and so on. But really what the party leaders and former and high-profile politicians like Mr Abe do in these events is go around and support the candidates and say, I've known this person for as long as forever, and he or she will be a marvellous candidate, and this is what we've got to do. It's really just it's literally a rallying kind of speech to encourage the voters to vote for this person.
And the attack we've seen today, it really is unprecedented. I mean, violence during campaigning is just not something I imagine people in Japan can even comprehend.
Well, no. Interestingly, this morning, one of the high-profile female candidates who's running for a national seat did tweet that she's had an egg thrown at her office. And, I looked at that this morning, and we react and say, yeah, that's just awful that sort of thing would happen. Now, political violence isn't unheard of in Japan. There have been assassination attempts, and so on. But for this to happen today, where it happened and under the circumstances that it happened, it's really come as a great shock to everybody who follows this, regardless of political persuasion. A lot of the opposition parliamentarians too have just been expressing their utter disbelief at what's gone on.
He was such an influential figure over such a long period of time in his Liberal Democratic Party. Where will this leave his party and his colleagues?
Well, look, it's obviously everyone's going to take time to look at this. I expect with the election going ahead on Sunday, as happened in 1980 when the incumbent Prime Minister died during the campaign, it gave this swell of greater support to the Liberal Democratic Party, a sympathy vote, if you like. To watch Prime Minister Kishida this afternoon during his two press conferences, to see his utter disbelief, his holding back the tears, clear distress. Obviously, the party will have to consolidate, and it'll be interesting to see, who will take Abe's position. Normally, there are a few sort of in the background playing these background shadow games, but Abe has had quite significant influence in the last few years that it's at the moment it's very hard to see what direction they'll take in the coming months.
And Donna, in what way do you think this could be an end of an era in Japanese politics?
In terms of whether or not we can go out and just watch all these campaign rallies, look, I expect there will be calls now. There's been a lot of footage and a lot of analysis of some of the footage that's been available today, some criticisms of the police around who perhaps weren't quite as... it's all after the event, we can all make these comments and criticisms. I suspect the security will be amped up, and interestingly enough, this was the first campaign because of COVID in the last couple of years. Politicians have been running their campaigns online, and it's just it's just interesting to see where it will take it, and I suspect there'll be more security and perhaps a toning down of these kind of campaigns, which would be sad to see. I think it's a really good characteristic of Japanese politics and campaigning.
In terms of Shinzo Abe's political legacy, how key was he to relations with countries in this region, particularly Australia?
Oh, look, obviously his relationship with Prime Ministers in Australia in recent years has been very strong. It's really enabled that to realise his ambitions of Japan becoming a stronger stronger leader in the relationship. There's been a lot of cooperation on that level, of course. His legacy overseas is recognised as much stronger than what it has been domestically. I mean, domestically he had a number of scandals, a lot of dissatisfaction as well. But there's another time to talk about that. I think it's we're all still very much in shock, and I think even just to watch Mrs. Ake arriving at the hospital this afternoon, just to see the what this actually means, and the people that they spoke to who were actually attending this particular rally, and people in his hometown of Yamaguchi and so on. I think we're all still trying to work out, still trying to process how this has actually come to be today.
It will take some time indeed. Donna Weeks, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. Bye-bye.